Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Ruff and Tam McManus here with me on this Friday. Lots of football to talk about. Great to have Ruffy with us, and of course Ruffy, good to have the badge kisser with us too, by the way. It's great to have Tam with us.
Yes, and we'll just have to all tender moments, to just wait and see how it goes.
Yeah, there you are. I get the feeling he could be a badge kisser, Ruffy. That's all I'm saying to you. That's the joy of this programme.
I don't remember him kissing the badge.
Yeah, well, we'll soon find out. We'll see exactly what happens over the next couple of weeks. If the window closes on the 1st of September, Ruffy, the transfer window, that's all I'm saying to you. It's either the big PLZ or a big hello to you truckers out there. Nobody listening. Anyway, good to have you with us, Tam. Lots to talk about, and let's start with Hearts 0, FC Zurich 1. I'm going to be blatant with this one. I cannot believe they lost the match, but they lost it because, in my opinion, a player decided to try and con the referee, and it cost the whole team. Yeah,
we saw it before. We've actually discussed it before. It's okay if you get away with it and it's in your team and you get a penalty, but when you don't get away with it, it looks terrible, and he will feel sorry that he has let everybody down. I just thought they were lacking a wee bit quality up front. The finishing was a bit iffy, and at that level, when you get a chance, you've got to take it, and they never took it, and they had enough chances in the first half. But you're right, going down to 10 men just fell into their lap.
Tam, they were all over them.
Yeah, I think the first half they missed a real opportunity. I think that they were the better side. They had Zurich camped in. Boyce and Shankland, I think Shankland had a decent game. Boyce didn't have a great game, missed a couple of opportunities. The one came to him in the first 5 minutes. He snatched at it in the wide area. So Hearts had their opportunities, and I always feel when you're on top you've got to score. You're right about George Grant. He just tried to anticipate the guy coming in to tackle him, and he got it wrong. It was a clear red card for me. Second yellow and a red card, and after that I think that was Hearts done. But they'll be disappointed. I feel as if they've missed a huge opportunity because I think the draw was pretty kind. I don't think they're a top team, Zurich, and I felt as if Hearts will have regrets looking back on it and think that they should and could have been through.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I mean, so many people saying Iva Spine, he always sends messages saying Hearts will be kicking themselves. Joe Marshall says they blew it big time, and Paul Martin, a little less gracious, says Robbie the greeting Jambo. Well, I'm amazed that Robbie Nielsen came out and actually defended George Grant after the game.
In my opinion, I speak to our players or defenders and say, when you're in the penalty area, you can't come off your feet. If you have, you've got to make contact with the ball. He comes off his feet. The striker, in my opinion, is under no obligation to get out of the way. So as soon as there's contact, it should be a penalty. But the referee's seen it a different way, and it's cost us the tie.
Well done to Adam for sticking the PLZ mic just underneath his nose.
Miss that one.
Whispering Robbie Nielsen. That's why we've got to do that. But nevertheless, I think he's trying to be kind there, Ruffy, saying that, the player's got to get out the way of, he's losing his balance. I've heard that argument before. The player tried to con the referee, and in the end, I think he's cost his teammates £5-6 million. The club's cost £5-6 million that.
Yeah, I think the people behind the scenes will realise that as the game was going on and the Hearts were doing particularly well, you'd have started counting the money until that sending off. But it's this word contact. Everybody says, there was contact, but you've got to say to yourself, is it enough contact to do what he did? And it's no.
There's no contact.
I know, but he's saying...
He throws his leg into him.
But he's saying the boy said he felt contact, but I mean... Not for me, we've seen 2 or 3 instances of that, and fortunately the referee got it right because he's the one, that would suffer in the end if he had given a penalty.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, if you're a teammate, Tam, going into the dressing room, there's 10 of you having to try and defend, and then even when you go up, you're leaving yourself wide open, which eventually Zurich, and I agree with you, they weren't that great. They left themselves exposed. If you're a teammate going in there, do you think... it's just stupid. If you're a captain, you're looking, you're going, why would you do that? You don't need to do it, we're on top.
Yeah, not when you're on a booking. I think, he's just went in there and he's chanced his arm, but when you're on a booking, if you get it wrong and the referee notices it, then you're off the park, and it was a huge turning point in the game. As I said, I think Hearts were excellent for the first hour of the game, and then after the sending off, it was difficult. We didn't see a lot because it got cut off, but Zurich got the goal and the red card killed the game, but the Hearts will be kicking themselves. I'm absolutely certain that the Hearts supporters will look at that Zurich team and say we should have beat them.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you feel as if, I mean, we get cut off, did you just not move your giant Russian satellite round?
It must have been a real cut off if we didn't come up my stick.
Now listen to this. The one thing that really annoys me, Ruffy, and I don't think it'll ever go away, because there's always stupid people who go to games and decide that it's a good idea to hit the goalkeeper with a coin. And it looked like a coin, it could have been something else, but it could have been a serious injury to Craig Gordon. I mean, I hope CCTV picks up the culprit.
Yeah, I think CCTV will pick it up, but so will UEFA pick it up, you know, and unfortunately for the club, the Zurich are the ones that are going to get fined heavily for one individual, you know, who's taken the name of the club in vain, and they could get hit with £30,000-40,000.
Yeah.
You know, because of that.
It was just a moment of stupidity. Thankfully, Craig Gordon was okay. Hearts then have to agonisingly wait to see how the draw is going to pan out for the Conference League, which they shouldn't have been in. I don't know how you feel about it yourself, Hearts fans. If you were at the game, give us your thoughts on it. But this is now who Hearts will face in Group A of the Europa Conference League. It's Istanbul, Başakşehir, Fiorentina and RFS. And the reason I'm going to mention RFS is because, I feel so sorry for Linfield. I mean, honestly, they've got a gilt-edged opportunity to sink them. The ball then goes up the other end of the park, and it's the last seconds, Tam, and the guy, the centre-half, scores an own goal, and it's off to penalties.
It's absolutely sickening for a Linfield fan. I mean, they've got a 4-on-1 situation. They actually work it well. It's a great pass into him, and he just passes it back to the goalkeeper. I mean, even in that situation, you run into the corner flag, hit it over the bar. Just don't hit it into his arms so he can just launch it up the park, and ball goes wide. And they were never going to win in penalties after that. You could have had your mortgage on Riga to win in penalties after Linfield. They would have been sick. So they just nicked past them. So I think the Hearts will be reasonably happy with that group. Fiorentina will obviously be difficult going to Istanbul, but you know, I think they can be competitive in that. I've seen the group they could have got in the Europa League, which would have been tougher.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal were in there as well, so I think that's a group that they're going to be competitive in.
Yeah, listen, I don't know, I love the way you made that sound great, Tom, but no, if you're in a tough group in the Europa League, Ruffy, yahoo!
Yeah, it's a lot of money, you know, and I'm sure Linfield will be sitting sobbing. They've lost that £7 or £8 million, so, you know, I think the Hearts supporters will still get behind their team.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think the home games will be jam-packed, you know, it's a European night. Okay, they'd rather be in the other cup, but they're in a European cup, and it'll just grab everybody's imagination, and we've still got 3 teams in it.
Yeah, absolutely, which is something to be celebrated. We're going to talk Champions League draw. We'll hear from the managers and players ahead of the weekend Scottish Premiership fixtures. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button, tell your friends, share the feed, let them know, and if you hit the bell, you'll get notifications of all our unique content, and our reporters are all across the weekend's football as well. So there's more and more footage and content coming from PLZ Soccer, and lots of big things happening that I know that you will be interested in if you love your football. So with that in mind, we quickly, with you, Ruffy, and myself and Tam Cowan, conducted the Scottish Junior Cup second round draw. Now all the matches are taking place over the course of this weekend, so it was a big draw, to be honest with you, Ruffy. Don't worry, we're not going through the whole entire draw, but there's the first one that came up there, which you can see the likes of Killock Rovers or Ellen United against Bathgate Thistle, Auchinleck Talbot, the winners last season, against Rossvale or Muirkick Juniors. And then as you go down and you start to see some of the tasty ties along the way, Petershill or Nairn St Ninian against Irvine Meadow catches your eye in that one. Arthurlie or Harthill against Lugger Boswell Thistle, that's a mouthful, or Forfar United. And then into that third section of it, Tayport, who've got a good reputation in the juniors, against Ardeer Thistle or Johnston Borough. And then in the final one there, Lochee United against St Rochs. We've been up and doing a few dinners with St Rochs. We had a really good night with those guys. So for all the teams taking part in the Scottish Junior Cup second round, sponsored by Clyde Home Built, improvements, then good luck with that, and hopefully with a bit of luck you'll enjoy your match, and you never know, you could now be knowing exactly who you'll face in the second round. If you want to see the draw in full, then go on to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, search the news section, and you will see myself, Ruffy and Tam conducting that draw in its entirety, just so that you know that the numbers, the bag and everything was done officially, Ruffy. It was absolutely fantastic. It was such a long draw that we just decided to sleep over with a tent.
It was one team or the other, all this, all that, all that. But no, anybody who's in it, you're in it to win it, and it's amazing how much all these communities get involved in it, and it's the be all and end all to win that Junior Cup. You know, you just need to win it once. You don't need to win it 5 or 6 times. They're only looking for a good run and a good win for the whole place.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to so many people for posting their messages about Hearts. It would have been, Jason Ladd says, Hearts are lucky they didn't get into the Europa League, they would have been spanked. I think just being there is absolutely magnificent for clubs, and we were looking for that real financial shot in the arm for Hearts, but they're in the Conference League, as Tam mentioned. They've got a good draw there, and maybe with the home support, and maybe before the window closes on September 1st, a wee addition of 1 or 2 players to add that quality. You never know what they can do in the Conference League. As far as the Champions League draw was concerned, Ruffy, I told you, it's one ball from one pot, one ball from another. This one can't play that one. It was one of those situations where it started officially at 5, but by the time you get through all the hoo-ha, you know, we're well past 6 o'clock with the draw, and here's how it all looks. So there you have it. Group A, Ajax, Liverpool, Napoli and Rangers is an exciting one. Group F, Real Madrid, RB Leipzig, Shakhtar Donetsk and Celtic. Tam, it's exactly what Celtic wanted, and if you're wanting a Battle of Britain, does it get any better than Liverpool Rangers?
No, it doesn't. I think that's a glamour tie that the Rangers supporters would have been, you know, wanting. It's obviously a tough group for Rangers when you look at it on paper. But I think Rangers against anyone at home, you know, will be confident of getting some sort of result. So they'll go into all those games with confidence. I think from Celtic's point of view, I think Real Madrid, again, 41 years since I last played them, 42 years, 1980, and they've played Barcelona, I think, 20 or 30 times in that sustaining period. So they're delighted to get a wee trip to the Bernabeu, a redeveloped Bernabeu. You know, and Shakhtar Donetsk, Leipzig, Celtic would quietly, I think, Celtic supporters quietly fancy their chances. Rangers tougher, but I wouldn't rule either out again, maybe getting out of their group.
And big thank you to Michael Crooks, who says, Peter, your team's getting done. Obviously, it's going to be it's going to be interesting. Liverpool against Rangers. I mean, it's just a brilliant tie to look forward to, isn't it?
It's fantastic. I have to hold my hands up and apologise for yesterday, because I made the statement I don't think either of the two of them would get out of any group. Because I thought that when the draw was getting made, that both of them would have had 2 really, really top teams to contend with. I don't think that's the case. I agree with Tam. You know, I think Rangers and Celtic are capable of beating the other 2. Not home and away, but home and maybe a draw away. So, yep, I said yesterday no chance, but now I'm more confident that one of the 2 of them can get out of the groups.
Yeah?
Yeah.
One of the 2 of them?
No, I think the 2 of them. Could. I think Rangers would handle Ajax at home. You know, I don't think that'd be a problem. They proved away from home that as they did the other night, that PSV are not quite an Ajax, but I mean they know that going there in that environment they can get a win. So yeah, I think the 2 of them won't be far away. They won't be like bottom of their group, or they won't be second bottom. I think they'll go out. I think they will. I don't know which one, but you're looking at me. I actually think Celtic will get the easier draw. I think Celtic will get the easier teams.
I agree with you.
I think it may be a wee bit harder for Rangers, but nothing would put me off Rangers the way they've been playing in Europe.
No, I think you're absolutely 100% correct. I think, you know, if you're Rangers and the standard that they've produced over the last couple of seasons, I'm looking at it and thinking to myself, now Rangers will look at that group and think, okay, bring it on. Yeah. The only unknown for me, Tam, is Celtic, because nobody knows which way Ange's team is going to approach the whole thing.
Are they going to go and play the high press at the Bernabeu and play the way they usually play? You know, if he does, fair play, but I think they'll get spanked. I think you've got to be looking to try and get a result, any result away from home. At home, you can be more expansive and have a goal with the fans behind you. I think when you go away from home, I think you've got to be a little bit more pragmatic in your approach. Celtic went to Real Betis and were 3-1 up, you know, and obviously Real Betis are no Real Madrid, but when you get a lead away from home, they've got to learn to just maybe sit on it for 5-10 minutes, you know, and not just go for the next goal and the next goal, you know, and try and frustrate the opposition a little bit. So I think that Celtic, I'd fancy Celtic to get out of that group. Rangers, I think, could be tougher, but I wouldn't put it past Rangers either.
Yeah, I mean, the thing we were talking about, and I looked at a UEFA report on last season's Champions League, and Carlo Ancelotti is a master of it, and basically said, you know, Liverpool play a high line, so we just sat in and waited to pick them off. I mean, I just cannot see.
Well, Real Madrid beat them all, didn't they?
Yeah,
Chelsea,
absolutely.
you know,
Man
PSG,
City.
Man City, and Liverpool.
Yeah.
You know, so they've done the 4 top teams. You know, and as I said, if you've got to box clever, because if Celtic go and gung ho, whether that's at Parkhead or away from home, Ancelotti's a master of just picking them off in the counter attack.
Yeah, Paul Baird said Celtic will play attacking football, and I have to be honest with you, Ruffy, if they do that and we're at the Champions League games, we'll be watching the Champions League game like that, because we'll have to look back at Paris Saint-Germain and the likes of Barcelona, who absolutely dismantled them.
Yeah, that will be interesting. Not at home. At home, I don't mind the gung-ho approach and going for any team that comes to Parkhead. But away from home, and Tam touched on it there, if you're 2-0 up away from home, you've got to have a plan B to sit in, you know, and frustrate them. And the way Rangers did the other night, you've got to have a away from home, a different formation or different players that you can put in to say, right, we're up 2-0. Let's see what you've got.
Yeah.
Not to continue to go for a 3 and a 4. That's okay at home, but not away from home.
Yeah, and you know, it's great the banter that goes on between Celtic and Rangers fans. One of my mates, who's a big Rangers fan, that I from time to time get him tickets for big games. Time to time I get him tickets for big games. He just phoned me this morning and he said, Peter, I require 2 tickets for Istanbul, the final.
Yeah.
and I thought, there you go, there's a bit of confidence for you. Fantastic. And of course, listen, the demand from both sets will be brilliant, Ruffy. They'll all be at it trying to get the packages.
Yeah, particularly the Liverpool and Real Madrid. I mean, you don't get many chances to see Real Madrid up close and personal, so it'd be interesting to see how the tickets work. I said yesterday the season tickets should get first shout, you know, obviously, but there's a lot of people going to be disappointed. But a lot of the venues, apart from the Shakhtar Donetsk one, should be easy to get to, which is always a big one for the fans. You know, you don't want to be trailing 5 and 6 hours to get somewhere, so, you know, I think the fans that don't get tickets will be there, as Rangers proved. You know, when they were in the final, a lot of fans never got tickets, but they still went.
Yeah.
So they will go to Liverpool. They will go, you know, to the venues, and it'll be great. It's absolutely super.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to it. Thanks to Gregor Stevens, who's sent me a message saying, mates, Peter, really? And Stephen Scott says, Rangers are in the group of death and Celtic are in the group of possibilities. I think.
By the way, Hugh Scott come on and apologised. Yeah.
Well, no, he did mention. I
tipped Rangers the other night.
I honestly, Hugh always watches the programme, and he did mention way back here. I should have actually read it out. Well done to Tam. It's something along the lines of
even a broken clock twice right a day.
Peter, I'm glad that Rangers ended up in the Liverpool group. The only other option was Bayern, Barca, and Inter. And he did mention earlier on there. He says, "Well done to Tam for finally predicting and getting it right. You had to get it right sooner or later, Tam, with them. But nevertheless, well done, Tam, there. And the group is just magnificent. I mean, there are other fantastic games. I mean, I'm looking at some of the other groups. Who would want to be in Group C, Ruffy? Group C, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Inter Milan, and Victoria Pilsen have got a great chance for their fans just to go and get well bladdered out of their head, because they're never going to. I mean, if we're talking about how Ange Postecoglou is going to play, Victoria Pilsen are just going to go there and say, if we could get 1 goal, it would be great, wouldn't it?
It's going to be a hard shift for
That's a Craig Levine shot.
But
4-6-0.
There's one of the groups is easy peasy.
Oh,
There's one of the groups that have hardly any big names into the look. I can't remember which one it was.
Is this the one? Well, it's not. Let me see. Is it Eintracht Frankfurt, Tottenham, Sporting Lisbon, and Marseille?
Yeah,
is that kind of easy peasy for you, Ruffy?
There's another one. It's pretty.
Porto, Atletico Madrid, Bayer Leverkusen, and Bruges.
Yeah, it's not that.
Not that.
Jump it and it's not got a big one, is it? It's not got a
no,
big...
it's kind of a. Well, I must admit, when that group was coming out, I said, I hope Celtic and Rangers don't get into that. They want that glamour tie. They want to prove themselves at the highest level and maybe take a scalp. I think personally, looking at both of them, Tam, I think certainly there is minimum third place for both Rangers and Celtic.
Yeah, I think they both will be disappointed if they finish bottom, and I think both will be, particularly Celtic, but I think we wouldn't write off Rangers either for finishing second in that group. Ajax and Napoli, two good sides, no strong teams, big clubs. But Rangers at home and away in Europe over the last 2 or 3 seasons, there's not been many better in terms of getting results. They're on a great run in Europe.
I didn't know the Napoli stadium was called the Diego Maradona.
Yeah, they renamed it as Magnificent. Which is, well, to be perfectly honest with you, if you look back at the footage, I mean, he's done something there that nobody has ever managed to do since.
Yep, you're right. He took it, went there when they're down and won the league. It was just it's a great documentary if you can see it.
Yeah,
you get a chance to see it.
It would be fantastic if Rangers are over there in Napoli and when the teams are warming up, somebody puts on la 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 la. Wouldn't it?
It's not quite the same as Maradona warming up than Ryan Jack keeping the ball, is it? No offence to Ryan Jack. That's a great video. That's a great video.
It is, isn't it? I mean, it's fantastic.
I
always love Gary Lineker's story about Maradona. He said when they were playing in some kind of testimonial from the rest of the world, and he says, and they all went out at Tottenham, I think it was Ozzy Ardiles' game,
that's right.
and he said, and he just kicked the ball 50 feet in the air, and then he managed right up, right down, 13 times, belted the ball up into the air.
Difficult to do.
And he said, and everybody else tried it, and they were chasing it after 1 and 2, which he was a phenomenal player, and it's one of those days where I think you will savour going there to Napoli. Rangers fans certainly will lap that up. Whether they can produce something special, give us your thoughts on it. What do you think? Rangers, Celtic fans, is there a chance to finish minimum third? Do you think there's a chance to get out of that group? There's a lot of people saying that they reckon they can get out of the group. And Billy says 20-1 for both to qualify. Would you have a wee snip of that, Tim?
Yeah, I think that's okay. I think that's a decent bet for a fiver.
Yeah, absolutely. So you never know. It's Peter thinks Ryan Kent is Maradona, says Stephen McNamara. not at 50-foot keepy uppies, I have to tell you, Stephen. No chance. But nevertheless, always good to reflect on that. If you are of a younger age than what's in this studio here, get on YouTube, just put Diego Maradona in and you'll see some of the magic that he produced for Napoli.
The warm-up against Bayern Munich, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was, yeah. And I mean, it's just superb. Anyway, apart from that, Gallant says this Rangers side is better, more experienced for Europe than Celtic's. Right now, I don't think anybody will argue with you on that. I mean, Celtic are the great unknown. I'm sure Ange Postecoglou wants to add maybe 1 or 2 more to the squad. And I'm sure Giovanni Van Bronckhorst will want to add to the squad, but you're absolutely right. I don't think anybody can argue with that because Rangers have proved it. The stats are all there, and this is what Giovanni Van Bronckhorst obviously had to say about the draw itself. I'm happy with the draw, and we can play some great games against tough opponents. It'll be great to travel to Anfield and the Diego Maradona Stadium, and the home games will also be fantastic. We've built this squad to be competitive in domestic competition, but also for the Champions League. I'm really happy with how my squad is looking. The Champions League is the biggest club competition there is. Liverpool have been competing in the final, Ajax have been dominating in Holland, and Napoli is also a great team. It is great for our development to play against really good opposition, and I think anybody who saw Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's trackside after the game against PSV will realise how special it means to him and the rest of the backroom staff to do that.
Yeah, well, he's done it as a player. He's played at the top and he's won at the top. He's been successful. Other clubs, but this is his first one. This is the one with Rangers. That he's taken a club. Who obviously we don't want to keep going back through all the troubled times and that, but now he's taken them to where they should be.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to give him credit for that. Everybody was raving about Steven Gerrard. It'd be interesting to hear the Rangers fans, you know, the comparison there, you know, from Steven Gerrard's style of football and Gio's style, you know, but he's the one that certainly got them into the group stages, and you could see for whatever he's done in the game, that meant just as much to him.
I was reading a stat the other day about Van Bronckhorst's record for Rangers in Europe. Absolutely phenomenal, both as a player and as a manager.
Yeah.
And some of the scalps he's taken in the run to the Europa, then, you know, Union you would expect him to beat, but to beat PSV and was another big scalp. So his record in Europe's fantastic.
And the added bit as well is he's a Rangers player. You know, he's steeped in it.
He understands what it means.
Club,
yeah,
you know, so that's an added bit as well.
Nice of PSV to take it so graciously. Anyway, apart from anything else, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst also mentioned that he'll sit down next week for talks with Alfredo Morelos. What's your gut feeling?
My gut feeling is I think that it'll knuckle down. I think that the fact that Rangers in the Champions League will be very attractive for Alfredo to try and get back into the team. You know, he's in the last year of his contract. I don't think he'll sign another deal. I think he'll try and leave Rangers or try and get a club, you know, on a pre-contract in January. But for the time being, he's got to try and get himself back in shape. Rangers need him. They're going to have a lot of games coming up, big games. You know, Kolak, you know, he's scoring goals just now, but I think all round, if Morelos is fit, he's a better player.
Yeah.
I still believe that Morelos is a better all-round player, but he's got to get himself in shape. Rangers want to play a high press, they've got to be fit, and if he's let himself down fitness-wise and, you know, discipline-wise, he's not in line with the rest of the players, then there's no way that Van Bronckhorst can play him. He had to take that hard-line stance for the rest of the other team, because I was watching the other day, you can't bow down to one player. You've got to take the whole collective, the whole team into consideration, and he's done that.
He's got a hard shift if he does stay, because a lot of the fans will have him, fans being fans, he's let us down. You know, so he'll have to be in right good shape.
He's fortunate to get through then.
And he'll need to score goals very, very quickly. If he was going 2 or 3 games without scoring, the fans don't forget, you know, these kind of things. So he's put himself under a lot of pressure, but it would be interesting to see how that conversation goes. You know, Rangers don't want to lose a lot of money on him. If he's going to sign a pre-contract in January, you're talking Rangers maybe losing £8-9 million. That's a lot of money. So they might be saying to him, hey, if you're staying here, you better sign a contract.
If it was me, I would punt him. If there was a big enough offer somewhere. And
I don't think they'll get anywhere near 8 or 9 million.
No, they might not get that, but I think Rangers have got to look to the future and got to look to something. It's not an isolated incident.
Rangers need another striker anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, to help Cholak, I think you're right. But listen, they're taking on Ross County. They'll miss Glenn Kamara as well. He's out. Just a one little footnote. It's good to know that Alex Lowry won't be out for the whole season. That's just weeks that maybe Giovanni Van Bronckhorst is talking about the young starlet. It was a bad tackle, and we're glad he's not got a serious injury.
No, he's a big player for the future, not only for Rangers but for Scotland as well. I thought he would maybe get more games later on in the season, but luckily this injury isn't a really, really bad one, because I think we'll see him now and again in that Rangers first team.
Yeah, just a couple of things on the European front that I want to mention. Well done to Real Madrid striker Karim Benzema. He was crowned the 2021-22 UEFA Men's Player of the Year. Alexa Putellas was the Women's Player of the Year. The Spanish midfielder has actually won it before, and she's been prolific with careers 34 goals in the club game for the. Also played in the Women's Champions League final, so well done to her as well. And I mentioned to the other British clubs involved, Arsenal, PSV, Bodo Glimt and Zurich is the other group, and the other one is with Neil Lennon, Omonia Nicosia. I've got Man United, Real Sociedad and Sheriff. Great for Neil Lennon.
Brilliant for Lenny. He obviously, listen, he's a Celtic legend as a player and as a manager. He's won a lot of trophies, but I think the way it all ended, going for 10 in a row, soured his relationship with a lot of Celtic supporters, and he left on a real low note, I think. But I think he's took the right opportunity to go abroad, you know, out of the way for Scottish football, and he's done really, really well. To beat Ghent over 2 legs and to get into that group, that's great for his profile as well. You know, playing against Real Sociedad and Man United, you know, 2 high-profile teams from big countries. So I wish him all the best. I think he's a good manager. Unfortunately for him, as I said, it ended sourly at Celtic. But I still don't think he's a dud by any means. I think he's a good manager.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. There were some people who absolutely filleted him, but you don't become a bad manager overnight, and they certainly weren't calling him tactically inept when he defeated Lazio. But I wish him the very best of luck, and certainly I think time is a great healer with regards to Neil Lennon. I think maybe a year or two down the line, Ruffy, if he ever entered anywhere near Celtic, he'd get a standing ovation.
Yeah, I think so. I would like to think he'd get a standing ovation at Hibs as well for the short time he was there. I think the success that he gave them, okay, it ended pretty badly, but these things happen in football. And he's done a remarkable job over there. I think that team were down at relegation, and now he's got them with a cup in their own country. Now he's got them into Europe. So, well done to Neil. I'm just wondering if he'll go to Man United, and if he beats them, do that aeroplane thing around the park.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll get away with that down there.
I'm sure he will. Listen, to be honest with you, if Omonia Nicosia are beating Man United, you wouldn't put it against them, would you? Anyway, good luck to him with Omonia Nicosia in the Europa League. A couple of things I want to mention. I'm going to show you some belter man caves later on in the programme, Ruffy. I've got a little montage of a couple of fans who've been showing us their man caves. It seems to be the big thing. Everybody builds it out in the back garden or whatever, builds a hut, puts in the bar, and then puts up the memorabilia. Some of them are to be seen to be believed.
You've not one, Ruffy? A bar and memorabilia.
No, I've got a bar in the kitchen. I don't need another room to go into. I've got a cupboard.
Absolutely. And the last thing you need is a man cave that could disturb the horses, the giraffes and all the other animals he's got out on that huge area that he lives in. But nevertheless, here's the SPFL fixtures. We did mention Rangers are taking on Ross County. Ross County, I think, delighted to get their win last week, and now up against Rangers. Elsewhere, as you can see, Aberdeen, Livingston, Kilmarnock, Motherwell, Rangers, Ross County, St Mirren against Hibs, Dundee United, Celtic, and Hearts against St Johnstone. So let's talk football. Give us your thoughts on it all. There's lots of big games there to look forward to over the weekend, over Saturday and Sunday. And of course, Celtic on the Sunday will be taking on Dundee United. The fans are buzzing knowing Real Madrid are coming to Celtic Park. So there's going to be a huge lift. They've also got a number 10, even though he's going to wear number 9. You're slightly surprised. You said you wanted a holding midfielder. I mentioned that, you love that playmaker, and that's apparently what he's all about. Sead Haksabanovic.
Yeah, I think he can play as a number 10. He can play in the wide areas. So he just gives Celtic a bit of cover in the front areas. 5-year deal. Celtic no messing about. They paid a big fee for him as well. So no, listen, the Celtic supporters will be looking forward to seeing him play. He comes with a great reputation from Russia, and as I said, 5-year deal. He's definitely one that can get into the first team straight away. But Dundee United, I think they need that game like a hole in the head. They're on there on. Jack will be looking to try and put in a performance like Alkmaar at home and not Alkmaar away. But it's a really, really tough game for Dundee United. But if they can get anything out of that at all, then I think it would turn that a bit around a little bit with the punters up in Tannadice.
Well, he's been given the dreaded vote of confidence by Tony Asgar, the sporting director, who says, the board haven't been discussing his future. And I think all the talk he's suggesting about him being under pressure, and there was talk of him, Jack Ross had quit, are just untruths, crazy talk and fake news. Does the pressure intensify if they lose to Celtic?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there'll be any pressure at board level. He's only been in the job a wee while. The pressure will be in the stands. The pressure will come from the fans themselves, because they weren't very happy last week as they were walking out when the third goal hit the back of the net. So, yeah, I would think this week in training they'd just be trying to get the defence sorted. They don't really expect to beat Celtic, but they don't want to get hammered 4 and 5. So I would expect maybe them sitting in and trying to make it really, really difficult for Celtic on the day.
Yeah, as far as Celtic are concerned, obviously Ange Postecoglou is looking to keep up this run they're on at the minute. He was asked today about VAR. He doesn't reckon that the implementation of VAR will stop people from complaining about decisions.
if you think that refereeing decisions are that important that they change games, VAR ain't going to change your outlook. I've never worried about that stuff. I think even with VAR, there's going to be mistakes made. There's going to be things missed. Our football club and me in particular, I've never focused on that as, worrying, allowing that to judge our outcomes. If a decision goes against us, it goes against us. Our job is to get on with it, and it'll be the same with VAR.
I don't think he's going to make a meal of it, and I think he's right in pointing out that lots of people will still complain, even when you go back to the people who are sitting in the coach or wherever they're sitting, determining whether it's a penalty or whether it's a foul or not. People are still going to moan.
Yeah, they're going to say that that computer's not working, it's faulty, or the line, and thankfully now in England it's a thicker line, and there's been some tight offsides. Last weekend I watched the match of the day and it's a thicker line now, giving the advantage a little bit more to the attacking team.
Yeah.
I hope they do that in Scottish football as well, because there's nothing worse for me if a toenail's offside or a small inch of your shoulder or something.
I like it when there's I like the rule when there was space.
Yeah.
If
any part of your body's onside, you're onside. That's what I would do as
it's
a
an
striker.
entertainment. Is that not the best?
People want to see goals.
Absolutely.
You don't want to see goals getting chopped off for somebody being 3 centimetres offside.
The good thing about VAR is we're getting a second chance to see it.
Yeah.
No, you're getting a second chance whether you agree with it or no. It's not the first and only chance the referee's getting. He's getting a second go at it. So, and whoever else is looking at it as well. So you're hoping it's a lot better than what it is.
I hope it's quicker.
Yeah, well, it wasn't quick to start off with, but I think it is quicker now.
Yeah, fingers crossed on that. So Rangers against Ross County, Dundee United against Celtic. The predictor, Tam, at the moment, obviously, I just hope you guys can keep pace with the leaders at the top of the predictor. But I've gone for Rangers to win 2-0 and Celtic to win by a similar scoreline up at Tannadice. So where's your money?
I've went for Celtic 3-0 and Rangers 2-0.
I went for Rangers 3-0 and I think Celtic 3-0.
Yeah, okay. Hearts against St Johnstone. I think now there's a real buzz about Hearts. I'm not too sure about St Johnstone. I think this could be, even though there'll be a fallout from Hearts' disappointment of the game, I still think they're too strong for...
Yeah, there was evidence that the other night there that they were the better side, although they lost the game. I think the Hearts fans will be really disappointed, but I think they'll go along to that game and get right behind their team because of the shift that they're putting. So I think that's going to be the bonus for them, and the spur, to go on and win that game.
Yeah, what have you got?
I've got Hearts to win 2-0.
Yeah, same here, Ruffy.
I've got Hearts to win 1-0. A wee side note, Barry Mackay, again on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrific. He's got to be knocking on the door in Scotland now, the Scotland squad.
You think so?
I think so, because every time I see him, he's absolutely tremendous. And he's not a luxury player. And he works hard as well, works back the way, which I think is important when you're playing for Scotland. You can't just be a luxury player, a flair player that just goes and does it one way. He gets back in, he gets back into shape and he works hard. So I think that Steve Clark's got to be keeping an eye on him. I think he's a terrific start of the season. Yeah,
some of his passing and his touch, Ruffy, have been outstanding.
Well, we spoke about it the other day, I think with David Martindale, says there's not many players can see a pass. And he certainly can. The pass that he played through for the Hearts goal
Boyce.
for
Boyce. Yep.
Yeah.
I couldn't even see. I could see Shankland's run, but he had it in his mind where he was putting it because he obviously read it. And there's not many players like that can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's on top of his game at the moment. I think you're right, Tam. He's well worthy of some recognition at international level. He's got that trickery and he can pick a pass as well. And he's developed well at Hearts and certainly come on leaps and bounds. As far as the other matches are concerned, up at Pittodrie, Aberdeen, Livingston, David Martindale reckons if they're going to get anything at Pittodrie, the Dons need to be just off it a wee bit.
You're probably going up to Aberdeen, you're looking for them to have a wee bit of an off day. Every one of us have got to be bang at it, have a good day of football, so to speak. So I think they're a big club, recruited very well. I like Jim, I think he's a top manager, so I think it's going to be a really difficult game.
Yeah, Aberdeen, sometimes I think you don't know what you're going to get with them. I think they need to start getting a run of games just to solidify what Jim's trying to do there.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think they need some consistency of performance and consistency of team selection. Great result at St Johnstone last week. Took a fantastic goal from the free kick from Clarkson to win the game, but kept a clean sheet, and they haven't kept many, this season and last season. So I think that's a foundation they've got to try and build, and they've got to try and keep clean sheets, because I think they've got goals in them, Aberdeen, particularly Majovski up front, and Clarkson scored 2 crackers. So I think if they can keep another clean sheet, then they'll definitely score. But I think I've went for a draw in that game.
Yeah.
I think that Livingston are capable. If I either went for 1 each or 2-1 to Aberdeen.
You've gone 2-1 Aberdeen.
Aye, I was swithering on a draw, because I think Livingston are that type of team who can go up there and upset them, but Aberdeen maybe just nick it then.
Yeah, absolutely. Try not to swither. If you're a wee bit more opinionated by me, people will start to take notice. Exactly. Anyway, apart from anything else, I'm looking at that and I'm saying to myself, Livingston, if you get a chance and you like watching the content on the programme, try and catch up with the Tuesday programme with David Martindale, because I thought it was first class with him. Listening to him, Ruffy, some people's perception of him and the reality are miles apart. He was brilliant.
Yeah, I just like him because what you see is what you get. There's a lot of managers come in after games and fob the question, and don't answer the what they're asked, but he doesn't. He'll tell. To me, it's as if he's just like a punter. Just tell you as he sees it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some really good insights from him, Tam.
Yeah, I watched the show. I tuned in. It was tremendous. I heard them talking about a little bit about Morelos, and they've been a bit collective, and it's about the whole team and how he manages players, and in terms of fitness with players and substitutions, the 5 sub rule, how he voted for it and then never voted for it. So it was I really enjoyed it. It'd be great to go and watch back if you've never seen it on Tuesday.
Yeah,
that's the good thing about this show and other shows, you can't watch it back.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You don't
get the chance.
It's a good point, actually. And of course, the other thing that's really good about this show is it has an audience. Just for yourself, Tam, if you want to bear that in mind, if you ever decide to move on. And just testing, Ruffy. Where is wee Baz now? Anyway, apart from anything else, that one there, I've gone 1-1, Ruffy. You going?
Oh, I went for Aberdeen to win that.
Have you?
They need to win their home games. The fans demand, but David Martindale's right. We need to catch them on an off day, because they have been prone to taking these off days. So, but I don't think it'll be tomorrow.
Yeah, you didn't say that to David on Tuesday, did you?
No,
absolutely. Your bottle would crash. Absolutely. Killie against Motherwell. Now, this is a tough one to call, because you're talking about managers.
He's going for that.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you right now. I'm looking at it and I'm wondering. It's so tough to call, but Motherwell have started to just respond to Stephen Hamill, the new boss. They're right behind him. There's a real bit of momentum with him, and of course, as well as the instructions that he's handing to the players, Stephen Hamill is long enough in the tooth to say, I want them to try and be able to express themselves and show initiative as well on their own on the park.
It is, and it's giving the players the ability to analyse the game themselves as well. We give them a structure and a platform to play in, and a model we want to try and play in, but also remembering that they're good players and they're here for a reason, and if they see things out there that they like and they think we're getting success with, then they explore that, and that's always encouraged here.
Yeah, I still like it when managers say, listen, you're out there, you're there for a reason, get on with it, do what you do well, and show a little bit of initiative. It's not, you can't all be robots on a park.
No, I think there's got to be a general structure in your team, on and off the ball, where you should be, and in terms of team shape. But when you're on the ball, if I was a coach, I would just go and express yourself in the final third. Particularly in the final third, you can afford to take risks. You can go and try and take someone on one-on-one or try something different. That's the only way you're going to score goals.
Yeah.
Obviously at the back, you've got to be careful. But no, he's got to go and play the right team. And I think he's got players in that Motherwell team that can score goals. 3 goals up at Aberdeen. Van Veen, I think, is a kind of streaky striker as well. He'll go and runs, where he'll go 5 or 6 without a goal, and then he'll maybe score 4 or 5 in 5 games. So I think he's a player that can maybe score a goal, and I think they've got more goals in them than Kilmarnock, which I think is why I've went for Motherwell just to nick it. But I think this is a game that Kilmarnock have got to take something from, or else I think the pressure could maybe start to increase.
You think so? I think Derek will, unless it was just a monumental collapse in the first half of the season, I think the board will just say, look, get on with it. Whether he gets players in is another matter. I think he definitely needs players. Of course, he wants some decisions from referees as well. I think he's looking at the games that have gone by and reckons Killie should have had more points.
We feel the 2 games we've played, Ross County away and Dundee United, we could be easily sitting with 6 points. And we've got to hang on to that. We've got to have the confidence to go and set about the game on Saturday. Motherwell in form. they've been going well of late. But it's a game that we want to feel that we can go and take part in it, compete well, and hopefully we're on the right end of the result this time.
I think it's a big one for them. I can't split them, Ruffy. I've gone 1-1.
Yeah, I've made a typo error in my score.
No.
I'm quite happy.
No, none of that rubbish.
I'm quite happy to keep it.
Yeah.
What is done? I've went 1-0 Motherwell.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
I was going to go a draw.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
I'm quite happy with 1-0 Motherwell.
By the way, the other thing is, Ruffy, don't come on Monday and go, well, I did say a draw.
No,
you know,
I won't do that. I'll just take the 5 points for the 1-0.
Yeah, only time will tell. Kilmarnock against Motherwell, and Tam, you've gone Motherwell. Tam, you've gone Motherwell to win 2-1.
Oh, have I? Oh, no.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know the Beatles will split up. You know what you're doing, by the way. This is outrageous, you two. St Mirren against Hibs. I think at this point, we didn't get the chance to speak to Lee Johnson, the assistant. Jamie McAllister was talking about how difficult it's going to be for Hibs to go there and try and break them down.
Yeah, that's 2 clean sheets, 2 wins. So a bit difficult task. They got a way of playing. Hard to break down, organised. They play like a 5-3-2 at possession, like in the low to mid block. So it's up to us to go and break that down, but be aware of their threats on the counter as well. I mean, the 3 goals scored against Dundee United the other day was from a transition counter attack. So.
Yeah, tough to see him again, Tam. You played against him.
Yes, I did. He scored the goal in the League Cup final. Yeah. Livingston beat Hibs, and we had 40,000 fans there, and Livingston had about 40.
Yeah. Do you still get your runners-up medal?
I have somewhere, but it's not something that I dig out and show anyone.
No. Well, to be fair, not many people get to a final, Tam.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I got to 4 and lost them all.
Yeah, still.
Anyway, let's move on.
Look at the glass half full. Well, if you do move on, then you'll maybe take that medal out and look and see what it's like to be a runner-up. Jamie McAllister saying that Hibs have got a tough job trying to break down St Mirren. St Mirren have been, slowly but surely responding to Stephen Robinson. I'm delighted for that because I thought there was a wee bit of a groundswell against them.
Yeah, there was some results early on, obviously not qualifying for the Premier and losing some goals and games, so no, they've got a couple of wee wins. The boy Main started scoring goals. I thought that would be the problem, didn't have enough strikers. Brophy was injured there for a wee while, but with Main scoring last week, it's given them a bit of confidence, and Tam will be telling us, Hibs are getting the late goal specialists. I just don't think you can get away with that every week, so I think I've sat in the fence in this one and went 1 each.
Yeah, well, there's a young referee who's going to be in for this one. Graham Granger will be refereeing this match. I think Stephen Robinson saying the sooner you can get VAR in, the better, because it will help, when you've got an inexperienced referee who might be taking a top flight game.
I suppose they've got to start somewhere. It's funny they never put them in the bigger, so-called bigger games, but this is a huge game for us. So, look, I think when I see the decisions last week, we had a Stonewall penalty. I see some of the decisions. I think the sooner VAR's in, the better. I don't think it's the answer to every single solution, but certainly referees are human beings. They're doing it to the very, very best in their ability. There's never ever been a question with me about that. They're all good guys as well, and I just think the sooner we get it in. Incredible work in halfway through a season. We need it in just as soon as possible to help and get a little bit more consistency.
Yeah, I think Stephen Robinson conducted that press conference in a toilet, but nevertheless, we got the gist of it. If you're going to start somebody in a game, and give them the experience, I don't think Stephen Robinson wants a young referee in there. But St Mirren against Hibs, I've gone for Hibs to edge this one 2-1, Ruffy.
Yeah, I can see why you've maybe went that way, but no, I said I've sat in the fence. I've went 1 each. I just think Hibs have been struggling to break teams down. Okay, last week against Rangers they did it, but they had a couple of men sent off. So, I think St Mirren at home will make it very, very hard for them.
I've went for a draw, but no result here would surprise me. I think St Mirren coming off of back-to-back wins, clean sheets. Hibs always raise a game against the bigger clubs. These are the games that where Hibs are expected to win that sometimes they can slip up on. So I'm going to go for 1 each.
Yeah, a big thanks to Dial Kemi, who says your mics are just as bad. It could be that you're still operating on a Nokia 3210. I think we're all sounding great. I think we're all we're all sounding great on these microphones, but nevertheless, I've gone for this one. I think St Mirren against Hibs. St Mirren 1, Hibs 2. What do you think of that? Jason says Hibs 2-0. Come on, the Ruffy.
Yeah, I can see that as well, but I just think St Mirren have got their act together and they've got a striker now who knows the way to go, so I think that's a wee asset for them.
I think he's the main man now.
Oh, dearie me, we had to. I mean, honestly, we were waiting there, Ruffy, for long and weary when he was going to come in with one of those jokes, but he got one in. Ayr United against Dundee tonight, Ruffy.
Yeah, United sitting top of the league. I spoke to one of their directors, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they thought they were struggling. And I said, no, in this division, you're not, because anybody's capable of beating anybody in this one. Dundee, obviously, nothing each against Morton last week. I think everybody will be keeping their eye on that one, because obviously I think Dundee are the favourites.
Yeah, Partick, Wraith Rovers, is that game of the weekend?
It is for us. That we need to win our home games. I think if you win your home games, you've got a good chance, because I said, away from home, you've always got a chance of picking up points, but you want to be up there. You don't want to be middle or bottom right at the very start, so a win would take us to 10 points, which will be there or thereabouts.
Yeah, okay. Don't forget, stay tuned to all our social media channels for players coming in and coming out. If you download the PLZ Soccer app, you will be able to get all the breaking news on the app, and you can watch some of the archive shows, including, of course, David Martindale, trying to bring in as many special guests as possible. One-to-ones on the way, and more dream teams. And if you're on the TikTok, you can see a really interesting one with Ruffy, Hugh McDonald, David Martindale, Tam, and all the guys are picking one or the other. You've got options. You can pick Pele or Maradona. You can pick, various things. Yeah, apple or orange, or Spain 2010 or Brazil 1970. I suppose it's a generational thing. Yep. But TikTok, Ruffy, have you get into that yet?
No, I haven't. I'm sorry, no, I haven't. Somebody will have to show me.
Yeah.
How to get into that.
I think you'll like it, by the way. Yeah. That's our social media channels. All the breaking stories, you can follow that as well. And if you download that app, you can watch the show live on your phone or your tablet as well. So it's well worth doing that. We'll get some competitions that we'll be firing out as well. I wonder if you can tell me, I was just going to do a quick quiz question that I forgot to do at the start of the programme. I might as well throw it at you now. Neil Lennon against the likes of Manchester United back in the Europa League. Who was the last club that Neil Lennon managed Celtic against in the Europa League? That's the last time he was a manager in European competition. I wonder if you can think of that. Ferencvaros. When was the last game as manager in the Europa League? It was for Celtic, Ruffy, but can you remember?
I think Ferencvaros was Champions League.
No. Lille was the answer I was looking for. It was one of those tough ones, but I'm sure he's going to relish being involved in European competition. There are a few tasty teams involved in the Champions League, more than a few English teams. Here's how they're faring over the Premier League fixtures this weekend. In England, you've got Southampton against Manchester United. Who knows, this may well be the last time anybody's going to see Ronaldo in a United shirt. He could already be on his way. Chelsea against Leicester, Brighton against Leeds United, Manchester City, Crystal Palace, Liverpool, Bournemouth, Brentford against Everton, Arsenal, Fulham, Wolves against Newcastle, Aston Villa against West Ham, and Nottingham Forest against Tottenham. Is this what I would call the first weekend of, a whole fixture list that doesn't really have a great game?
I was going to say that there. It's amazing how these fixtures come out. There's no two big teams playing against each other.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first weekend, Tam, where I would probably say if I was going to push myself to watch a game, it would be maybe Chelsea-Leicester.
Yeah, you're right, there's no standout game there, but I've been interested to see how Arsenal started. They've started brilliantly. That's a game where they should win at home to Fulham, and I think they can give it a real go this season in terms of the title race. They've got a great run of fixtures coming up.
Yeah.
Jesus has been absolutely fantastic. Been the best player in the league so far. So he's gave them a wee boost as well. So I think Arsenal are a team to watch this year.
Yeah. What about? Do you think Newcastle? I've heard some people saying Newcastle. I think it's too early.
Yeah, too early. Isaac's a great striker from Real Sociedad, Swedish striker. I think he'll do really well for him. I think they're talking 100 million. So he'll come in, and I think he's a great signing. But if you can go and compete against Man City, and be 3-1 up against a Man City who are a top team, then you've got something about you. I don't, in terms of title race, no, but I think they'll be competing for the top 6.
Yeah, I like this message that's come in from Billy, who says, "Does Ruffy have friends reunited?"
Remember that?
Do you remember that, Ruffy? No.
No, you do.
Find my phone. What chance have I got?
He's lost his phone.
Have you?
Yeah, absolutely. So
I'll be on the phone in the wrong hands.
Oh
jeez. You've been sacked for every job.
Any chance you could find your phone, Ruffy? I've just actually thought about that. The other thing I was going to say to you, Ruffy, is Friends Reunite. You not remember that? It was the kind of a precursor to Facebook, where people basically put in all their details of what school they were at and everything. Then some people come up in the same category, and you could be reunited with them. The initial idea was really, really good, but then it led to a few people getting divorced. I'm just saying to you, when you start to go back over your first love. Remember about 5 years ago in the show, we tried to find your first love? Senga. Just couldn't find her anywhere. No. Trying to contact her through a medium as well. But no, Senga couldn't be found. Anyway, before we go, man caves.
Right, get them up.
Okay, now,
get them up.
The first one I'm going to ask you about, Ruffy, is it was sent in by James Marshall, who's a Motherwell fan, right? Now, this is an absolute belter because you've got to be happy with... I mean, look at that. There's the Motherwell winning the cup in 91. He's got PLZ Soccer on for the football show. A Beckham AC Milan top, the snooker table, Pele and Maradona. And that is sensational. A collection of the old cans, and he's even got a Jockey Wilson suite toilet.
I'd love to see the size of his house. That looks absolutely humongous.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
It is fantastic.
Get us in for a pint, James.
James,
come for a pint, James.
That was absolutely sensational.
I'm not bringing Tam Cowan, but
can I tell you, well, Tam would love that, wouldn't he?
Oh, Tam would love that.
Can I tell you something?
Cowan
I thought James's man cave was good. What would you give that out of 10?
Oh, 7, 8.
8?
Yeah.
Definitely an 8 out of 10.
That's an 8 out of 10, aye.
Oh, 8 for me.
8?
The Motherwell fan, it's a 10.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's superb. But I think it might have been beaten by Ian, who's a Celtic fan. Here's Ian's man cave, and Ian has just gone mental. He's got the green light. He's got the wallpaper. He's got the green light. I mean, he's got Big Billy McNeil there, the badge, and it's lit up. He's got all the memorabilia. I mean, that is an absolute belter. The good thing is he's got PLZ Soccer on there in the football show, Tam.
Yeah,
but that's a good one as well.
That's a cracker as well. I like the green lighting.
Do you know Ian as well? He said to you he was going to send it in.
I actually opened that man cave. I cut the ribbon for Ian, who's one of my golf mates.
Yeah.
You know?
Is there a wee plaque saying Alan Ruff opened this man cave on?
No. I just went along and cut the thing, man. And Ian's good because when you go into the man cave, you don't bring a bottle, you don't bring any drink or anything like that. All you do is you put a wee tenner in an honesty box, and it just refills all the drink. So anytime you go back,
you can drink for a tenner.
Yeah,
that's a good idea, isn't it?
You're doing it every weekend.
What did you say? I'd be sleeping in there.
Tenner. Right, we'll tenner.
That's good, isn't it?
That's brilliant.
Yeah. So we've got 2 man caves, and the last one is from Ricky in Jordan Hill, who's a Partick Thistle fan, and I like Ricky's, Ruffy, because look, there's a signed classic 1971 Partick Thistle shirt. On the right hand side there, and it's just a nice little man cave, bit of memorabilia there, but it still works for me.
Yeah, it does for me as well. You know, it's super. It's a jersey that every Partick Thistle supporter would like to have, and I think that is a signed one he's got there.
Yeah.
He's got the whole team that signed it.
You still got yours?
Yes.
Yeah. And
framed?
No.
It's not framed in your house, is it?
Have you got it framed?
In a cupboard somewhere.
For God's sake,
How can you not have that framed?
I have to tell you something actually. One of my friends, Katrina Harvey, I got the full signed one, and I got a full signed one as well, and gave it to her as a birthday present. I thought she was just going to burst into tears. Katrina's a big Jags fan.
I've got my winner's medal. I've not got a runners-up one.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, if you want to try and alienate them from the team, that's the type of thing to do. Just mention your winner's medal. That's a low blow, isn't it, by the way?
This didn't deserve that.
Yeah, exactly, but well.
Get together.
That's it, Ruffy. Yeah, Ruffy. They come and they go. They come and they go. Simple as that. Absolutely brilliant to be here with Ruffy and Tam on his farewell show here on PLZ Soccer's football show. Thanks to everybody who sent in the pictures of the man cave as well. The great news, and we're going to get pictures of it, is Tam Cowan, who lost the predictor last season, lost out in the predictor, and obviously he had to take everyone who was in the predictor out for a meal, and rather graciously, and I just cannot believe the gesture from him, he has decided not only to take everybody who was in the predictor last season, he's taking all the staff.
Is it?
He's actually invited all the staff, and all the staff are going to it as well.
Getting some tea and a free meal?
Free meal, bevy. That tells me one thing.
He's minted?
Managed, no, I thought he was minted, but he's managed to find somebody who's giving him a freebie at a restaurant somewhere.
Yep, he's going to do a review on his Instagram.
Yes.
Also tells me one thing.
Which is?
You've not seen Anne in a night out.
Sorry, I'll tell you one thing.
That's going to cost you, Thomas.
With our producer, it's going to take more than a tenner in an honesty box, let me tell you. Anyway, brilliant gesture by Tam. Thanks to everyone who's been downloading the app. And of course, the people who've been listening on the podcast, downloading it in great numbers. We're delighted. As you can see, the figures on a regular basis going up and up. And there's big things happening with PLZ Soccer. We hope you're going to tune in, subscribe to the channel, and also hit the bell for notifications of our unique video content. Lots more to come, lots more special guests. Brilliant to have Tam and Ruffy here with us. Don't forget to look out for Kerry Pollock's preview of the big games on Saturday morning. You'll catch it on our YouTube channel as well. She's chatting with Tam and Ruffy ahead of the big kickoff. And if you want to keep up to date with all the games, PLZ Soccer is the place to do it, on the website, on YouTube, and on your phone as well. Thank you today for watching. Enjoy the football over the weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.